श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन धाम की जय। श्री गंगा माई की जय। श्री जमुना माई की जय। भक्तिमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेता भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Canto 2, Chapter 9. The name of the canto is The Cosmic Manifestation, and the chapter is Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. And we are doing text 29 today. Bhagavati Shitmaham Karvani Hi Atindriha Nehamanha Praja Sargam Bhatyeyam Yad Anugrahat Bhagavati Chikshitam Aham Karvani Hi Atandritaha Nehamana Praja Sargam Bhatyam Yad Anugrahat Bhagavatshikshitam Aham Karvani Atandriha Nehamana Praja Sargam Bhatyeyam Yad Anugrahat. Anyone would like to repeat?
भगवत् शिक्षितम् अहं कर्वाणि अतीन्द्रितः नेहमाना प्रजा सर्गं बध्येयं यद् अनुग्रहात्.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
भगवच्चिक्षितम् अहं कर्वाणि हि अदन्त्रितः नेहामनः प्रजासर्गं बध्येयं यद् अनुग्रहात्. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण. भगवत् चिकीर्षितम् अहं करवाणि हि अतन्द्रिताः नेहमाना प्रजा सर्गं बध्येयं यद् अनुग्रहात्. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to repeat?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Bhagavad Chikshitam Aham Karvaniya Atandrita Nehamana Praja Sargam Baddeyam Yad Anugrahat.
Thank you, Mataji.
भगवच्चिक्षितम् अहं कर्वाणि ह्यतान्द्रिता नेहमान च सर्गं भज्येयं यद् अनुग्रहात्.
Thank you, Mataji. Synonyms: Bhagavad, by the personality of Godhead. shikshitam, taught, aham, myself, karvani, by acting, he, certainly, atandriha, atandritaha, instrumental, na, never, iha manaha, although acting, praja sargam, generation of the living entities, badhyeyam, be conditioned, yat, as a matter of fact, anugrahat, by the mercy of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please tell me so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. Purport: Brahmaji does not want to become a speculator dependent on the strength of his personal knowledge and conditioned to material bondage. Everyone should know in clear conscience that one is, in the execution of all activities, an instrument. A conditioned soul is instrumental in the hands of the external energy, Gunamai Maya, or the illusionary energy of the Lord. And in the liberated stage, the living entity is instrumental to the will of the personality of Godhead directly. To be instrumental to the direct will of the Lord is the natural constitutional position of the living entity, whereas to be an instrument in the hands of the illusionary energy of the Lord is material bondage for the living entity. In that conditioned state, the living entity speculates on the absolute truth and his different activities. But in the unconditioned stage, the living entity directly receives knowledge from the Lord, and such a liberated soul acts flawlessly without any speculative habit. The Bhagavad Gita 10.10.11 confirms emphatically that the pure devotees who are constantly engaged in the loving transcendental service of the Lord are directly advised by the Lord, so much so that the devotee unwaveringly makes progress on the path home back to Godhead. Pure devotees of the Lord are therefore not proud of their definite progress, whereas the non-devotee speculator is in the darkness of illusionary energy and is very much proud of his misleading knowledge based on speculation without any definite path. Lord Brahma wanted to be saved from the pitfall of pride, although he was posted in the most exalted position within the universe. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachyate Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So translation one more time. Please tell me so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak on the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. If we consider the vast network of Vedic knowledge, Vedic literature as a tree then the fruit of that tree is knowledge. And once that fruit matures, then what happens when the fruit matures? It becomes really, really sweet. And on top of that, if that matured, ripened fruit get pierced by the beak of a parrot, then it becomes even more sweeter. So Srimad Bhagavatam is that mature fruit of Vedic knowledge. Why? Because it explains the most secret and sophisticated topics of spiritual science very sweetly, very sweetly. And the contents of Srimad Bhagavatam are very, very vast, because it's like that all other scriptures are small, small rivers, and Srimad Bhagavatam is an ocean in which all the rivers just blend in. So, yet they are intended to derive only one point into our into our subconscious mind. And that's what? That is, always remember Lord Sri Krishna and never forget Sri Krishna. Even when we learn about the topics of creation, other technical topics related to it, related to this, so we understand that everything is Krishna. And because Krishna, he performs his pastime with his internal potency, which we are going to read in Canto 2 and 10, Canto 10, and other incarnations of Krishna, in which he performs his activities with the help of his internal potency. But the creation is the work of his material energy or the external potency. So this is also these are also the pastimes of Krishna. So that's very important to understand when we read or we perform anything. Every morning we are gathering here, we are investing our time, our energy for what? We should understand for what. Because if there is not clear explanation of the things that why we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, because it is related to Bhagwan, Bhakti and his Bhaktas. Lord himself is devotional service and devotees of the Lord. And the reading and explaining Srimad Bhagavatam will give us tangible spiritual advancement in our spiritual life. So if we don't understand this fact, so sometimes things become a routine, and Srimad Bhagavatam should not become a routine. It should be relished, like Parikshit Maharaj relished when it was imparted to him from the lotus lips of Shukadev Goswami. Now, coming to today's verse and today's topic, so I'm going to briefly explain what is happening in this chapter and how we reached up till this point of text 29. And then from there, I am going to go ahead and explain the main topic, the theme, which is instrument in becoming instrument in the divine plans of Lord Shri Krishna. How we can become the instrument and what is the meaning of instrument and how it is applicable in the lives of devotees. And also because today is the disappearance day of Sri Ramananda Roy. And this verse is actually has some connection with the story of Sri Ramananda Roy. So from there, we are going to connect with the disappearance day of Ramananda Roy with his story. So it's really very interesting. So because this verse has that important theme, which is going to connect to us with Chaitanya Charitamrita too. So let's just start. So this chapter, we know that in previous chapter 8, Parikshit Maharaj asked certain questions from Shukadev Goswami about the Lord. And now Shukadev Goswami, he started answering Parikshit Maharaj, citing the example of Brahmaji. We can see Throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, the answers, whether it is Maitreya Muni or whether it is Sutta Goswami, Shukadev Goswami, they all are taking references of the more exalted personality. So Brahmaji, he is a very he's a very exalted personality. Why? Because the responsibility of creating the secondary creation has given to him. We can understand how much he is a pious devotee of the Lord, that he got, and only he is the only living entity who got this responsibility of creating the secondary world after the primary creation of the Lord. And Brahmaji is the one who received direct knowledge from the Lord in the form of Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which we are going to cover in this chapter, chapter 9. So, so starting in this chapter, we can see from Shloka 1 to 3, very beautifully, Shukadev Goswami has replied that connection between the Jiva and Maya, that soul feel connection with the body, because of this Maya, because of I and my. And then later on, he started giving the, he started citing the example of Brahmaji, and he started narrating the story that how Brahmaji, when he was not able to find his source, when he was sitting on the lotus flower, he got inside the stem. He wanted to search his source, but he failed to do so, and he heard the words tapa, which means austerity. And after performing many thousand celestial years of penances, austerity, he got the vision of Vaikuntha planet. And there he saw Lord and also the inhabitants of Vaikuntha planet, and also Lakshmi. And even Lord shook hands with Brahmaji. So all these things happened. And now Lord is very pleased with Brahmaji. He asked Brahmaji to ask for the benedictions, and if Brahmaji have any questions for him. So we in verses 26, 27, 28, Brahmaji asked Lord various questions about his material energy, material and spiritual forms, his different types of energies, and also his pastimes related to all these energies. And then now we come to this text number 29, and here Brahmaji is asking Lord that please instruct me so that I may act as an instrument to generate living entities. So, instrument. Now, before going to the word instrument, I'm going to explain little bit about the ego part, because from there is a connection with the instrument. So what is ego, false ego, and true ego? So there are three things. Now in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, what he has explained about ahankara or the ego in two forms, as a conception and also as an element. So when I say conception as a concept, that means it's an emotion. When Krishna is saying ahankara vimoodatma kartaham iti manyate in chapter 3, that means ahankar vimoodatma, that's a concept or an emotion or a kind of feeling of pride. And also in 16th chapter also, Krishna is saying ahankar balam darpam, the ahankar balam darpam. That means again Krishna is using it as a concept. But in chapter 7.4 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is using this ego as an element of subtle body. Bhumir apno nalo vayu kham mano बुद्धिर एवचा अहंकार ityam me bhinna prakriti ashtada. Krishna is saying that these 8 are my separated energies in which ego is one element. Now, the sense of I-ness is the base line where this soul connects with the body. I exist. It is the baseline of connection with the body. That's the ego. And this ego is an element of subtle body. And this ego can never go away. So this ego, the baseline ego, I-ness, works as a foundational identity for our functions in our material life. And these functions are based on age, nationality, gender, and position, and so many other things. By this, I mean to say that I will exist as an element of the subtle body, and it exists as a foundational identity for my several functional identity. So when this foundational identity, which is I-ness, ego, it expands into different functional identities, at that time, this ego converts into false ego. I mean to say that due to illusion, due to conditioning, this soul, which is connected to this body with I-ness, start thinking that I am a woman, or I am in Indian body or in American body, so on and so on. I have this position, I work in here, and all these layers and layers of covering happens on our foundational identity or ego. But when we come in the process of Krishna consciousness, or when we start hearing and we start understanding the process, then what happens? We start going back to our foundational identity, which is I-ness. And then from there, what happened? We start understanding our true identity or our true ego, which is that I, which is existing as an individual, I am the eternal servant of Lord. That is my true identity. So that was the explanation of ego, false ego, and false ego, true ego, and ego. So it's very important to understand that we say very vaguely, oh, ego, false pride. So this, the pride which Brahmaji is using in this, in the purport also Srila Prabhupada is using, and the pitfall of that pride, although he was posted in the most exalted position, the false pride has been, the false pride is explained here, because Brahmaji as a living entity, I have already explained how I-ness is an element and it's never going to go away. So Brahmaji want Krishna to bless him so that he can always remember his true identity or true ego, which is he is the eternal servant of the Lord. Now, what it means to be an instrument. It's a very instrument is a very small word, but it's a very important concept when it comes to Krishna consciousness or bhakti, or when we apply it in our life. We are going to act as an instrument, if not in Krishna consciousness, then in the material energy. Then we are going to be an instrument in the hands of material energy. We will become an instrument in the hands of our relatives, in the hands of our boss, in the hands of our so many other people who are controlling us. So when we refer to the word instrument, we generally think of something that is used to accomplish a task. And then what happened? and then is then forgotten generally, or at least we just park it aside for some time. But when we are talking about instrument in the realm of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, then the glories of this world is eternal. And how eternal, I'm going to talk about now from Bhagavad Gita. What is the logic behind becoming Krishna's instrument? Srila Prabhupada says that as a finger is a part of the whole body, so it is the duty of this finger to serve the entire body. So similarly, because all the living entities are parts of Krishna, so it is very unnatural for the living entity to serve Maya or material energy. So our natural duty is to serve Krishna. And Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, he says, Mameva Vancho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, that all living entities are eternal fragmental parts of Krishna. And also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we know a very, very famous verse, Jivera Swarup Hai, Krishnera Nityadas, comes in Madhya Leela. So, irrespective of our social status or gender or nationality, skills, or so on, everyone is a part and servant of Lord Krishna. So our foremost activity as a living entity is to serve Krishna. And also in that service, I effectively identifying that we are instruments in Krishna's plan. Now we can say that an inanimate object like a pen, if I write with the pen, I can say that this pen is an instrument in writing. Now, can the pen claim that I am the one who is writing? No, because he is an instrument. Similarly, I am holding the pen, so the credit will go to me. And similarly, because I am an instrument in the hand of the Lord, the credit of my everything will go to the Lord. So now the question can arise, an inanimate object may be called as an instrument. But how can a living being, a living entity who has some independence, free will, we have independence, free will, we have desires, we have feelings and emotions, how possibly can we act as an instrument in the hands of the Lord or a master or guru or anyone else? So that's where voluntary spirit or voluntarily free will comes into picture. What is bhakti? Bhakti comes from the word bhaj. Bhaj in Sanskrit means to serve. Bhaj dhatu. Bhaj, to serve. So bhakti means to use one's own free will to voluntarily and enthusiastically serve the Lord. So a devotee who is trying to become an instrument in the divine plan of the Lord, like Brahmaji is asking Lord to grant him as the boon to become as instrument, he is doing it as voluntarily and consciously. It is his earnest desire to serve him. So when devotee acting as an instrument in the Lord's service, it's not a ritual or an obligation. It's our own desire to serve the Lord. And Lord never interferes with the independence of any living being. He will give us the knowledge, the power, some resources as we deserve, and leaves it up to us. And it's our decision to, to utilize that in the loving service of the Lord. Now here, I will give an example from Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, we know that there is in 11th chapter a very famous verse in 11.33. Yeah, the verse is, the last line of the verse is Nimit Matram Bhav Savya Sachin. Nimit Matra Bhav Savya Sachin. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, prepare to fight and conquer your enemies. He is saying Sabyasachi. Sabyasachi means an expert bowman who can shoot arrows with two hands. So Krishna is saying, come on, get up, O Sabyasachi, but can be but an instrument in the fight. That means Krishna has already decided the result of the war. And in chapter 11, he is showing Arjuna the Kala Rupa, in which he showed that as a time factor, he already swallowed everything. He already decided that the other side of Kauravas will get annihilated. You just become the instrument. You just become the facilitator in my divine plan. So that's what happened in Bhagavad Gita. And if we see the life of Pandavas, their whole life is an example of becoming an instrument in the Lord's divine plan. And also we know that even we always often says this statement, not a blade of grass moves without the Lord's sanction. But how much we realize it, that's another story. That not a blade of grass moves without Lord's sanction. So sometimes we think that this might not be Krishna's plan. We can think like that, but everything within is coming within Krishna's plan. Everything is coming within Krishna's plan. So that's very, very important to understand. And we know that in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna initially he was using his free will, his independence, and he decided himself, I am not going to fight in this Kurukshetra war. And he fell silent. He gave so many arguments to Krishna. We read chapter 1 and the starting of chapter 2. But at the end, we can see that how Arjuna got convinced to fight. And he says, Nashto moha smritir labdha, that now I regained my intelligence. Arjuna started fighting not because Arjuna got enlightenment and now about his duty as a Kshatriya. He agreed to fight because he understood his real position as a servant of the Lord. And now he understood that he is an instrument in the plans of the Lord. Sarva dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shuchaha. So Arjuna understood that, okay, I as a servant, I am going to do anything according to your instruction. Karishye vachanam tava. What you're saying, I am going to do according to your instructions. So this is the life of a devotee. Whether we refer to Brahmaji, or we refer to Narad Muni, or we refer to Prahlad Maharaj, we refer to so many Rantidev, we refer to so many devotees, and even in the present age, Srila Prabhupada, who acted as an instrument in Krishna's divine plan of spreading this Krishna consciousness all over the world. He acted, and there is a prayer of Srila Prabhupada in which he is saying, Krishna, make me dance as you want. That means I am your devotee and I am your servant. So please make me dance as a puppet, so as you want. So we can see in the life of the devotee, what is happening in the life of the devotee, what he is doing. The devotee is acting as an instrument. Now, acting as an instrument, sometimes we think that all these powers, all these possessions, all these skills, all these attributes are mine. When we do service, sometimes, as I said, our functional identities become overpower on our foundational identity of I-ness or true ego, that I am the servant, and we get deviated by false pride. So, for false pride, it is very important to understand that Lord Krishna, he is the ocean of powers, and his devotees derive their powers from him. Like in case of Brahmaji, he is a very exalted living entity, but he is deriving his powers from whom? He is deriving his powers from Lord Sri Krishna himself. And his devotees derive their powers from the Lord and then use it in the service of the Lord. And then what happened? Then all the service of the Lord we use, all the powers. And then when the service is completed, Krishna takes away all these powers back. Now the good example is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, where Kunti Maharani, she's praying to Krishna. She's saying that when at the end of Kurukshetra war, when Krishna is about to leave, Kunti Maharani, she is praying that Krishna, please don't leave us. Who is going to take care of my sons? And at that time, Krishna is saying, why you need my help? Arjuna and Bhima, Yudhishthira, they all have great power. Why you want me to ensure the safety and security of your sons? Then at that time, Kunti Maharani replied, my sons without you are like senses without a soul. That means senses, if there is no soul in this body, I will not be able to move my senses. But the soul is the factor with which I am moving my senses. So Kunti Maharani, she's saying that my abilities and my strength, their abilities and their strength are only meaningful by your presence. Because you are there, so that's why, because of your presence, all these things are meaningful. And also, we read in Canto 1 that when Arjuna, he was in Dwarka with Krishna after the Kurukshetra war, he went with Krishna, and there, when Krishna departed for his planet, departed this planet, then Arjuna came back and Yudhishthira Maharaj asked so many questions from him. And then at that time, Arjuna started speaking and said that we got cheated because my dear friend Krishna has already left this planet, and all the powers that I received from him, now all the powers have lost. I, Arjuna, who is very proud of my Gandiva bow, now was not able to save the queens from the cowherd boys. I was defeated. So that's what happened. When the powers, when the skills which we have by the mercy of the Lord, when these skills paid off, or these skills are properly invested in the service of the Lord, and the service gets completed, then the skills and all these possessions just get taken away. So that is very important understanding when we plan to be an instrument in the Lord's service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevan Bhaktir Uchyate Madhya Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita. That means when the Krishna is the Lord of all senses, and all the senses should be used in the service of the Lord. So Krishna is the only one who bestows us with various positions. Whatever position we have in our material life, in our life outside Krishna consciousness, whatever, or even when we are executing our services in Krishna conscious movement, whatever positions we have, Krishna is the one who is giving us the opportunity, the talent, the skill, the resources, so that we can use those services. I'm sorry, so we can use those skills in his service. However, as I said, we should not become attached to our position, possessions, or powers. Instead, what we have to do, we should develop attachment to the principle of rendering service to Krishna with whatever we have. Whatever we have, we should utilize in Krishna's service. Why? Because the real wealth of a devotee lies in the connection with Krishna rather than in position, possession, fame, or talent. So this point has to be noted that when we start, even when as a devotee, when we start doing service, at that time, we start getting fame, we start getting glories, and we start getting so many things, and we get attached. Sometimes we get attached to the fame, facilities, fanfare, and all these things, all these possessions or positions. But we should be grateful for the opportunity, and we should be very humble about it, because understanding the fact that all these skills, all these services, my abilities, my opportunities, my inspiration, everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is coming from Krishna. But if we get attached to all these things, so we should understand that material energy is acting on us. Material energy is acting on us. So Srila Prabhupada oftentimes says that when we start chanting, so we declare war against Maya. And when what material energy does, when we try to go closer to Krishna, we get services, we start getting fame, we start getting so many things, and we think, oh wow, I am too good. I am too good. I can sing better. I can cook better. I can dress deities so nicely. I can give class so nicely. I have so much this. Oh, my kids are so Krishna conscious, etc., etc., etc. This is a kind of weapon which material energy use for the devotees. But a devotee, if our focus is in the participation of Krishna's service rather than recognition, then what happened? We can easily just get over it. Now, how it is going to get over it? Not theoretically, but practically. If we start transferring all the credits which are ultimately belong to Krishna, if we start giving our credits to Krishna and our spiritual master and all the acharyas who are coming in the line. So so it is very important that we start thinking subconsciously. So our devotional attitude should be based on humility and understanding that everything which we have, it's because of Krishna, it's because of my spiritual master, and it's because Krishna want me to do that, because I'm an instrument. So if we are understanding that I'm an instrument, so that doership mentality will not come. But if doership mentality is coming, so a doership mentality is directly connecting with the enjoyership mentality. So if I think I have done this activity, so my mind will start thinking, then I am so great, I should enjoy the results. So when that happens, So it destroys our humility and gratitude to those who has actually given us the knowledge and skills and everything. So on the contrary, what happens? Humble devotees who know within, from inside, that I am serving as an instrument with commitment and responsibility, they just transfer the credit to the Lord and his devotees. But sometimes it happen, okay, she or he is singing very nicely. I cannot sing very nicely. I am good for nothing. No. So there is an example that there are so many birds. Peacock cannot fly so high, but birds like sparrows can fly higher, and the pigeons can fly even higher, while eagles and vultures can fly still even higher. So the point is that each devotee of the Lord has unique talents and capacities, and we can serve the Lord whatever abilities we have by using our free will and consciousness to choose Krishna's service. In this purport, so Brahmaji, what he is doing, he is using his free will. Voluntarily, he performed austerities or tapa. And now he is asking the benediction, oh Lord, please make me as your instrument. That means no doer mentality, no enjoying mentality, so that I can execute your orders and I become an instrument in your plan. Now, moving on to the disappearance day of Ramananda Rai. And I said that there is a connection. Now, what is the connection? So, for Gaudiya Vaishnavas or devotees of Lord Krishna in his form as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we know that the best samvad is the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. And it was recorded in 17th century. It comes in Madhya Leela, chapter 8. Their conversation happened in Vidyanagar on the banks of Godavari rivers. So, what is the connection? So, Ramananda Roy, he is the devotee of the Lord, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his father, Bhavananda Rai, that Bhavananda Roy is Pandu Maharaj from Krishna Leela, and his all 5 sons are Pandavas. Specifically, Ramananda Roy, he is Arjuna in the 5 Pandavas. So, Bhavananda, I'm sorry. So, what happened in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is saying that how just in a water cycle, the sun takes the water from the ocean and then it pours the clouds. Clouds takes the water from the ocean, and the cloud again, when it rains, pours back that water in the river. So similarly, what is happening? Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of knowledge. So Ramananda Roy, as an instrument or a cloud, takes water of knowledge from the ocean, and he is pouring again on the ocean, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke knowledge or Gita to Arjuna, and in this pastime, Krishna is very eager, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, became very eager to ask questions from Ramananda Roy. Ramananda Roy, he was a very exalted Vaishnava, and his home was in Alanath. And sorry. So Ramananda Roy, so that's the connection. I mean, he also acted as an instrument in imparted knowledge to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is giving this analogy of water cycle, that how getting the water from the ocean and pouring back to ocean. So, Ramananda Roy, as Brahmaji also, he's acting as an instrument without any false pride, just a humble servant of the Lord in giving the, the philosophical talks, in having philosophical talks in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So disappearance day is very, very important. Sometimes we call it is much important, more important than the appearance day. The reason is because when Vaishnava appear, so many people might not know the importance of that particular jiva soul or living entity. But when disappears happen, that by that time in the duration of life, that Vaishnava reveals himself to the common mass of public, that how much exalted devotee or Vaishnava he is. So that's why with the disappearance day, we believe that devotees of the Lord connect again in the pastimes of the Lord in the spiritual world. So that this is a day for celebration. So little bit about Ramananda Roy before wrapping up this class. Ramananda Roy is traditionally, he is a disciple of Raghavendra Puri, and who comes under the line of Madhavendra Puri. And so Ramananda Roy, he was a very, very, very exalted Vaishnava from his heart. When there was a discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, at that time, Ramananda Roy did not think that I am so brilliant that Mahaprabhu expressed his desire to hear about Krishna from him. And he spent time together with Mahaprabhu at the bank of Godavari River. And for the Lord's pleasure, the situation was reversed. What happened? The ocean of all knowledge is getting getting knowledge from Ramananda Roy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy so many questions, specifically to explain the ultimate goal of life and using the evidence from the scriptures. And Ramananda Roy started giving so many answers until Ramananda Roy finally got onto the pure devotional service as the ultimate goal of anyone's life without any motivation or mundane desire, the prema bhakti, the pure devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu urged again and again for from Ramananda Roy to go further and further and further. And then Ramananda Roy, when he started explaining the love of gopis and love of the selfless mood of Srimati Radharani, then at that time, Mahaprabhu became so pleased. He got so pleased. And then the love of Srimati Radharani he accepted as the final conclusion. And then they embraced each other, started weeping in ecstasy, in spiritual ecstasy. So, and this way they concluded their talk. So Ramananda Roy is a very important character in the, it's a very important personality in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And according to Gaudiya tradition, Ramananda Roy is also considered to be an incarnation of Gopi Vishakha, or also Arjunia Gopi. There is a book by Gaur Ganadesh Deepika. In that, the different references given for the different incarnations which happened in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lifetime. So Ramananda Roy, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Arjun, and we can consider him as one of the gopis also. So whatever he was in Krishna Leela, we should understand that he is eternally liberated soul who participate in Krishna's divine plan as an instrument. So thank you so much for listening to today's discussion. I'm very grateful for all of you for your rapt attention and for giving me this opportunity. If I have spoken anything which is not according to the scriptures and not correct, please excuse me. And now I'm going to open the floor for any comments, additions, corrections, anything you want to say. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Okay, if there is no questions or comments or whatever, so let's just thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare-
Oh, go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
No, go first, Mother Shobharata.
No, I just wanted to say thank you. I like the way you connected. The most important part about these classes is that we must apply it and how we should think about it. And the way you explained about what our position is. We are servants, and that's, and usually we confuse. We say, what did the Bhagavad Gita teach us? It teaches us that we must do our duty. And what that duty is, we have misunderstood that. So thank you for clarifying those details. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji, for your kind comments. All glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. I think someone else also wanted to talk. Let me see.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah, Hare
Mataji,
Hare
Dronacharya Das.
Krishna.
I just wanted to say thank you. Very well organized presentation on the ego and false ego and defining the difference between the two of them. And I appreciated how you explained, even when we come to the point of engaging in devotional service, which is at the platform of trying to engage the real ego in its natural engagement. Still, these illusion, Maya, still is present and tries to pull us away. And the ways in which, even while engaging in devotional service or attempting to engage in devotional service, the false ego still manifests, and we have to really guard against it. And I think that was a very powerful point to make. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your kind comments. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Very nice class. You covered many points about ego, about the instrument. And there are two kinds of instruments, spiritual and Maya. So we should be instrument in Krishna's hands, not in Maya's hands. And also like that, when we do service, we should think that it happened because of Krishna's mercy. We
Yeah.
should not be proud of that. So I really like those points. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. And it happens by practice, because sometimes the question comes that it's very good to hear, but when we apply, it becomes difficult. So it comes with the practice, with the constant practice. As Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is saying that because this is training our mind and it comes by practice. So we have to keep reminding ourselves, because this material energy of the Lord is Lord himself. Devi Hesha Gunmai Mammaya Duratya. So we have to keep reminding ourselves, I'm Prabhupada's servant. I'm Prabhupada's servant. I am Prabhupada's servant. This is service. This my capabilities because of Prabhupada, because of everybody, and not get taken away by this. So practice is very, very important, which plays role, and also the association of devotees. Thank you so much for the nice comments, and thank you so much. Yeah, Muktidatri Mataji, you want to say anything? Add anything, Mataji?
Thank you,
Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, for the nice class. I really like like Mataji was saying, like when we do service, so how should be our mode? That point I really like, Mataji. We have to keep reminding us.
Yeah, and we can
That
learn. Yeah, we can learn from
we have
Brahmaji, right?
just the instrument.
Yeah. And we can learn from the Brahmaji from this particular shloka.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Okay, Hare Krishna Mataji. So we can learn from Brahmaji. He got the most exalted position in this universe. Nobody
Maybe
can reach up to.
my connect is not.
Okay, I think. Okay. Yeah, we can learn from Brahmaji.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. So we can learn from Brahmaji how at the last line that although he was posted in the most exalted position within the universe, so Brahmaji, nobody can get a much higher position than him. And he wants to become an instrument and want to get away from this functional ego, which becomes false pride. So if we can keep reminding ourselves by practicing and by in the association of exalted Vaishnavas, so it is very much, it can happen by the mercy of the Lord. So thank you so much for encouraging me and giving nice additions. Hare Krishna. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuva evacha patita nama pavan.
Vaishnavevyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare